Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting inside Renaissance Bank in beautiful Alpharetta. And if you are tired of the big bank experience, and if you're at one of those mega banks, it's quite impersonal, at least that's what I've been told. But there are a lot of folks that are finding when they move to Renaissance Bank, what they're finding is that Renaissance is big enough to handle pretty much any need you can throw at them as a business, but they're small enough to deliver their services in a personal way. And I'm hearing that from the folks that I send their way. So if you are looking for that kind of experience, that banking experience for your business, then go to renaissancebank.com, find one of their local offices, and give them a call. I think you'll be glad you did. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. And now I want to welcome Rick Silver. Rick is a mentalist.
Hello.
Rick, you're my first mentalist. I've almost done 800 shows.
I'm honored.
At North Fulton Business Radio. You're my first mentalist.
That's great.
I'm excited. Tell our audience and tell me how you're serving folks out there. What is a mentalist?
Yes, a mentalist it's like a magician, but it's all about the mind and it's all about the audience. I used to do magic, but we can get into how I became a mentalist.
Okay.
But I do a 45-minute show. It's full of audience participation, a lot of laughs, and like ESP demonstrations. It doesn't get serious. It's a lot of fun.
That does sound like fun. Let's talk about your backstory and how you got into this work and what your journey looks like.
I guess it started with any boy who doesn't do good in sports, you get a magic kit. Mm-hmm. And I guess I was around 7 or 8. And I also remember going to Disney World and going to the magic shop there on Main Street. So I'm not sure which came first, Disney World or the magic kit, but that's how I got into magic. And I did my sister's birthday parties for a couple of years when I was about 10 or 11. Stopped that. The reason is both tragic and funny. We can mention that later if there's time, but gave up on that for a while, got into other things as a teenager, still interested in magic. I was always watching the David Copperfield specials every year. Mm-hmm. But then when I was about 26, I was 26, I was back here in Atlanta, and somebody showed me a trick with 3 pennies that went from hand to hand. And that spark came back. And so I joined the Georgia Magic Club, became vice president and president for 1 year, did their first website, did the International Brotherhood of Magicians website for 2 years, took over that for a couple of years, met an agent and who booked me out for magic shows for children at $40 a pop.
Oh boy.
He got $150. I got $40.
Oh, but quite a deal for him.
That is.
Yeah.
But I was glad to have the experience. And it was fun.
Sure.
Went out on my own and eventually made more.
Okay.
Doing magic. Did that for 20 years. Around 2014, I was getting burned out. I got carpal tunnel, had some back problems, a couple other issues. Decided to put that on. At that point, it was permanent hold. I had an IT job, so I was able to fall back on that. But I started getting the bug again, wanting to perform. And I wanted to do something different, and I've always been interested in the mentalism part, but I could never find good material that I liked. And then one day, I was going through a large collection of books and DVDs and came across somebody named Richard Osterland. And I had these DVDs. I guess I got them at an auction used, but I'd never opened them before. Mm-hmm. So I started looking at his material, and it was just amazing. The way he taught and the way he thought, and his style was very close to how I perform. So he became my mentor through the contributions that he put out to the community, and now we talk on email.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like us. He's in his late 70s. He's been performing for 50 years all over the world.
Oh, wow. And he's here in Georgia?
No, he is in Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I think this move from magic to mentalism really sparks the question, what's the difference, right? And,
Good question.
And you mentioned that mentalism is more about the mind, but let's dig into that.
Yeah, magic is more about physical props and sleight of hand.
Yeah.
Where mentalism is more about the mind and the audience. Magic is much more passive. You don't normally just sit through a magic show. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you come on stage or something, but mentalism is all about the audience. So everything I do involves somebody in the audience, if not the whole audience. So that's one difference.
So it's audience participation is a heavy piece of it, if not essential piece of it.
It's very essential.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Got
can't
it.
do it without the audience.
Okay.
Somebody's got to think of something for you to work with.
Okay.
The other big difference is the relevance factor. With magic, if I were to use the classic example, pull a rabbit out of a hat. That's cute. It's fun. It's amazing. But you don't go, wow, I wish I could do that. Imagine how better my life would be. Right.
Right.
But mentalism is about more relevant things. If I could read your mind, or if you were holding a poker hand and I could tell you what you were holding, people can relate to that.
Yes.
If I could do that, yes, my life would be better.
Yes.
So it's much more relatable to people.
Got it. So this move into mentalism was sparked by this Kentucky mentor that you had.
He was the one that got me going to say, yes, I could come up with good material, strong material that would play well, that I could do with my personality.
Oh, lovely. But you're an IT guy.
I'm an IT guy, yes.
You're an IT guy by day, mentalist by night, who brings all this fun to an audience.
Yes.
These things seem to contradict.
They are different. Both are intellectual, so there's that.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. Little do they know during the day what you're up to. Hey, folks, we're chatting with Rick Silver. Rick is a mentalist, and he's based here in the North Fulton area. And so let's talk about what happens at a show that you do. You say it's about 45 minutes long.
Yes.
What happens?
It's a series of, I call them routines or effects that are all varied. The props I use vary from a blackboard to books to envelopes to scissors to newspaper clippings. And that's the other difference with magic and mentalism. Mentalism, you're dealing with common things that people recognize as opposed to strange boxes that you only find at a magic store.
Sure.
You know?
A collapsible box or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So those familiar items, what are you doing with them?
For example, reaching into my case here.
We're about to have, something's about to come out
So
here.
let's just try something here. I have a book here. It's called Web of Spies.
Right. Rick has handed me a book. It's called Web of Spies by Walter Maxwell.
Yep. Just open up to any page.
Any page. Okay.
And I want you to pick out a word, not a small word, make it interesting, at least 6, 7 letters. And when you got one, close the book. All right. I'm going to take the book. Book is staying closed, but I like to touch things, as you would see in my show.
Okay.
John, I'm getting a word. Now, does it begin with the letter S?
No.
No. What does it begin with? K. Because the word I was thinking of was school. Does that mean anything to you?
It means something. You mean relative to this word?
To the word, yeah.
Yes.
Is your word kindergarten?
Yes. Okay, folks, he did not look in this book. And he couldn't see what I was looking at.
No.
Okay, so the first question people ask is how you did that. Right?
I did that, I hope.
Yeah, you did that quite well, actually.
Yeah. One thing I say in my show is I use powers that we all have. So I don't claim to have any special powers or I was born with something. It's all training and methods that I use to make the impossible seem possible.
Wow. Now, so you do that kind of, and I can see how that draws people in. And so you're really, for a group, you're breaking a lot of ice, as it were.
Yeah. It's a good icebreaker for parties.
Yeah. You're really, and I would think for a business group that maybe is tired after a long day of strategic retreat or something like that you're a breath of fresh air when you walk in the room.
Yeah. It's very fun. It's quite different from what people see and what people see in a magic show. So my unique selling point is it's unique entertainment.
Yeah, it sure is. So you go through, is the right word tricks?
I use methods.
Okay.
I use effects or routines.
Okay, thank you. So you go through these different effects and routines. Does it depend on what audience is there?
Not necessarily. My show's pretty much the same, but I will adjust based on the environment that I'm in if necessary.
So you tailor it to the client sometimes?
Yes.
Got it. And so what does it take for you to put on a show?
What do you mean?
What are your requirements to do one?
Oh, to do one, basically just a small performing area. 6x4 is the minimum that I need. Basically, I have a small table that I bring, and I'll have some people come up on stage with me. So it's not a lot of space that I need.
Okay.
And I work out of my carrying case that I bring.
Gotcha. I'm worried about what you're going to pull out of that carrying case.
At the end, I would like to do something with you that that all the listeners can take part in. So if they get a piece of paper and a pen, that's all they'll need. Why
don't we do that now?
You want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do it now. And you've got a case that's looks like lawyers that are carrying big briefs around.
It's a catalog case, and it travels. Another difference between my magic show and this one is this show travels.
Okay.
So with the magic show, I would have 3 tables and big props and a rabbit and a dove at one point. And I'd be making 3 trips to the car. But this show is much more compact. It all fits in a carrying case that I can fly with, so I can perform anywhere.
Gotcha.
So what I have here is a blackboard.
Yes.
Big enough that you could see from large back rows, but small enough that it fits in my case.
Yep.
And anyway, listeners, if you want to get a piece of paper and a pen, what we're going to do, I'm going to write 3 little words on here, and I want you to follow along. Write them all in capital letters.
Now, am I doing this too?
No, you're going to watch.
I'm watching.
You're going to watch me. But the listeners, they can follow along. And they can experience the revelation at the end.
I love it.
All right?
I love it.
So we're going to do 3 little words. We're going to write them all as one word in capital letters. So the first word we're going to write is ESP. ESP, because that's what we're doing.
Okay. Got it.
The second word, again, in all capital letters, write it right next to the word ESP, is now, N-O-W. Because if we did this later, that wouldn't make any sense. The last word is VIP. And that's, John, that's you. Because without you, there'd be no point in doing this. Okay?
Okay.
Now, we're going to put this aside for a moment. So you can put your paper down. We'll come back. Now, the following is just for John. Okay?
Okay. ESPN, now VIP.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, ESP, not ESPN.
Sorry, I had to run on in that word. Yeah. ESP now, VIP. Yeah. Right. Okay.
So, John, we're going to play some visualization, and I want you to act it out. Okay.
Okay.
And along the way, there'll be some decisions to make, this or that type of decisions. Okay. And it's very important that you answer instinctively or intuitively.
Don't think about it.
Exactly.
Don't think. Okay. Got it. Okay.
So imagine that there's a brand new deck of cards in front of you.
Okay.
If I were to ask you if you wanted to take out the red or the black, what would you say? Red or black?
Red.
Okay. Open the case and take out the red cards.
Okay.
And you can push the rest.
Imaginary cards.
That's right. You can push the other cards aside. We don't need them.
Got it.
So you decided on the red cards. Okay. So I want you to split them up into hearts and diamonds, one in each hand with your palm out.
Okay.
Just like that.
Right.
All right. Now, when I say now, I want you to turn one hand over. Tell me which suit dropped. Go. Now, which suit was that?
Hearts.
Hearts fall to the floor. They're out of the way.
Okay.
You're left with the diamonds.
Yep.
Now, if you haven't figured this out, we're trying to eliminate cards.
Yes.
Okay. Do you prefer even or odd? Even or eliminated?
Yeah.
We're left with the odd cards. Okay. Now, to avoid confusion, we'll say the ace, jack, queen, and king are out of the picture. They're not even or odd. So we're left with the 3, 5, 7, and 9 of diamonds, right? Turn 2 of them over. Which 2 do you turn over?
7 and 3.
7 and 3. So now you take the 7 and 3, you mix them up, and you hand me one.
Okay.
Which one do you hand me? The 7 of diamonds or the 3 of diamonds?
The 7.
You hand me the 7. So after all this, John, what card are you left with?
The 3 of diamonds.
The 3 of diamonds.
Right.
Now, John, what if I were to tell you that you were influenced to pick the 3 of diamonds? What if I were to tell you that something in this environment influenced you to pick the 3 of diamonds? Something right in front of you. And listeners, at this point, I want you to pick up your piece of paper and I want you to slowly turn it over.
Okay.
And you
wow.
should see diamonds.
Yes.
3.
Diamond. Oh. I see that.
And for those who didn't play along, please rewind and do it with us. And if you still don't see it, just realize that an upside down P is an upside down D.
So basically, you've taken ESP, now VIP, turned it over, turned that, in this case, board over, and it reads clearly, diamonds 3.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. That was amazing. So what you're pointing out is our minds are really more powerful than we can imagine.
Yes.
And that we see things that don't register. Mm-hmm. Like when you wrote that out, that didn't register with me, but my mind was reading upside down.
That's the idea.
And turned around, I guess as it were. Yeah. So it was turned around and upside down, and I was still reading that. And that's what you're pointing out.
Yes.
But I had no idea that was going on when I was doing it.
Did you?
No, not when I was reading.
Right.
Not when I read the letters. No.
Yeah.
Not until you turned it over.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. So this really gets at, so this is really not quote unquote ESP. I can imagine what people give you a hard time about is, I don't want to hang around you, Rick. You're going to read my mind, right?
They say that. And my answer is I can't do it directly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But people give you clues.
Yes.
Okay. However, what you're really pointing to is the power that people have in their minds that they don't even know they have.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful.
We see things and we don't pick them up.
So what does this reveal about us as human beings?
That we do not live, the reality that we live in is, we don't see base reality. Mm-hmm. Our reality exists in our mind. It's what we experience. I'm looking at you, but I'm not really seeing you. I'm seeing the light reflected from you into my mind, and my brain is interpreting those images.
Right.
And that's my reality.
Yeah.
So
wow.
You can play with that.
Wow. Let's think about from this interview, folks. Rick Silver is with us. He's a mentalist and is available for lots of different shows and appearances, right? Yeah,
I do house parties in the living room as well as corporate events.
Okay. So we talked about your requirements, your influences. We talked about your friend in Kentucky, Richard. Let's shout out to Richard, but let's go beyond Richard and your other influences and whose footsteps you walk in.
Sure. Copperfield certainly got me started in it. Steve Martin was a big influence, I think, just growing up with his comedy and his style. Mm-hmm. I think that affected me. I think you can see that in my show a little bit. There's a magician named Jeff McBride. Now, he's not a household name, but he's a magician's magician. He's the headliner at every magic convention.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he performs all over the world. I think he's in his 60s. And I had the honor of going to 4 of his master classes back in the early 2000s in Las Vegas, where I got to train under him.
Oh, wow. Very cool. Very cool. So let's talk about how folks not connect with you. We'll get to your coordinates here in a second, how they can find you. But what's the conversation like? Somebody calls you and they want to have you come to their event. How does that conversation unfold?
Basically, just ask the type of audience and the number of audience, get an idea of the location. Mm-hmm. I explain my show and the price, and we go from there.
Okay.
It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And you said the typical show is about 45 minutes.
Yes.
And I would love it if you could share the feedback that you've gotten, a success story of happy folks that have seen your show.
Sure. Got 5 stars on Google and a 5-star on The Bash, which is an entertainment site. It used to be Gig Masters, but it's called The Bash now. I did a show in May in St. Louis. It went very well. And afterwards, somebody came up and said, I want to hire you for a show I'm doing next month in St. Louis. It's a charity for 100 doctors. So she hired me. A few weeks before that, however, it got postponed till next February.
Oh, dear. Okay.
So I'm still booked for that.
Okay.
But that was just a direct hire right after.
Oh, wow. So
pretty cool.
So she saw you and thought you would immediately be of interest to a room full of doctors.
Exactly. Yeah.
That sounds like quite an event when you're talking to a room full of doctors, right? Because it's all about, they're going to definitely try to dig under your hood, right?
Yeah, they know about the brain.
They're going to dig under your hood, Rick. Good luck on that.
Yeah. The thing was, this was for heart health. that it was a charity.
Okay.
And they were going to have it in June. Of course, they didn't realize that's when everybody has graduations and vacations and stuff, and they didn't get enough registers.
Of course.
So they said, hey, let's do it in February when it's Heart Month. So that's what happened.
Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so you're here in the North Fulton area.
Yes, I'm in Johns Creek.
But you travel.
I do travel.
Yeah, obviously you go to St. Louis. Cool. And so are there any particular events that stand out that where you really are a great fit, but maybe people don't expect?
I don't want to say just anywhere, but that's really the case. Because anybody would have fun with this show. That's for sure. It's family friendly, but I don't do it just for kids, just because of the intellectual part of it. They wouldn't understand the impossibility factor, I think, young kids. So
sure,
I do want the audience to be at least 14 and up.
Okay.
But yeah.
Okay. Now, to give folks another little peek into this work that you do. So you and I were together in an after hours the other night, and you had a slim little volume.
Yes.
About the
pi
numbers, pi and pi being what
it's the ratio of a circle, the circumference to the diameter.
Right. And it's a constant, 3.14. And I think everybody knows 3.14, right, because all the pie places sell pie on March 14th, right?
Right.
So they know about 3.14, but it goes on to infinity.
It goes on to infinity. It doesn't repeat.
Okay.
Which means any sequence of numbers can be found in the number of pi.
And so you've got a book of pi taken out to what?
17,000.
17,000.
Yes.
I have to say, folks, I have never run into anybody in recent years that is carrying around a book like this. So
it's a real book. It's $9 on Amazon. Just search 17,000 digits of pi.
Something tells me that's not on their bestseller list.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably.
But it does have some interesting facts about pi in the beginning of the book. So
okay.
It's not all numbers.
So you're memorizing these numbers.
That's the idea.
That's the idea.
Yes.
Does that mean you're really not memorizing them? And you can tell by the look on my face what number I'm looking at when you say, John, turn to whatever page. I think I was on page 38 or something like that of this book. And it's a book with like just a page full of numbers.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't bring it, unfortunately.
That's okay. That's okay. But you were guessing numbers out of this book.
Yes.
So are you going to shed some light on how that works, or?
No.
Folks, I'm trying to get this out of him. I guess you've got to hire him.
That would spoil the fun.
Okay. And how many numbers are you going out?
The book is 17,000. So.
And you're going through the whole book?
Yeah. The last half I'm still fuzzy on, where that bookmark was.
Yeah. That's just shameful that you're fuzzy on the last half of the book full of 17,000 numbers. My gosh, folks. Rick, come on.
Well, I'm working on the record is 100,000 digits recited in 16 hours in 2006.
Really?
By a guy whose name I can't remember, but it's in the book. But yeah.
Wow.
I'm almost there.
Okay. I was impressed with what I saw the other night. 8 or 9,000 numbers. I was pretty impressed about that. Anyway, wow. Rick Silver is with us, folks. He's a mentalist and a lot of fun to talk to and be with, and might be a great performer for whatever kind of event you've got coming up. So let's give folks a place where they can contact you or learn more information about you. Be in touch.
Sure. You can go to mentalistricksilver.com. I have video testimonials, including the lady who hired me for the doctors.
I love
She's
it.
on there.
Okay.
As well as video clips of the show. Mm-hmm. And in those clips, you can see the audience reaction, which is the important part, how the audience responds. So you can go to mentalistricksilver.com. You can also call me at 678-548-1570 or email me at rsilver@gmail.com.
Terrific. Rick Silver, folks, he is a mentalist and he's a lot of fun. Go be in touch and check him out. Rick, it has been a lot of fun. And
Thank you, John.
I appreciate
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed being here.
Yeah, I've enjoyed having you, and I'll be thinking about that some of these things you've laid on me today.
All
so
right.
I think those that listen to this interview will too. Thanks again.
Thanks, John.
Hey, folks, just a quick reminder. If you are looking for a cook-to-order Italian restaurant that's got all the classic dishes and truly like Mama used to make, as the old saying goes, then what you need to do is you need to check out Casa Nova Italian Restaurant. Casa Nova is on Highway 9, just north of McFarland, and they were farm to table before that was cool. And here's what that means. What that means is that they have a whole farm right behind their restaurant, and they have tomatoes and corn and peppers and zucchini and herbs and whatnot, and they bring them inside and put all that together in a cook-to-order style, and it's just fantastic. My wife and I were there last week, and we just had a great time, and the food was fabulous. Go to CasaNovaRestaurant.com to learn more, to make reservations, and also to check out their menu, because if you want to do catering, they're a great source for that kind of service as well. Hey, I've got a book out, folks. It's called The Generosity Mindset, A Journey to Business Success by Raising Your Confidence, Value, and Prices. If you're a solopreneur or small professional services firm and you've got issues with your value, your positioning, your business development, your pricing, certainly this book is written for you. Go to thegenerositymindset.com to learn more and to find out where to buy the book. And it's really available where all fine books are sold. Also, I want to thank you, our listeners. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we're coming up on show number 800 on North Fulton Business Radio, and we've only come this far because you continue to support us in so many different ways, and we are grateful for that support. You like the show, you share the show on social media, and we couldn't do what we do without you. Please continue to do that and be in touch with us. Let us know how we're doing and support our mission to be the voice of business in the North Fulton region and beyond. So for my guest, Rick Silver, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.